Kamala Harris has spent decades fighting violent crime. As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border.
In an effort to shore up her border security chops, VP Kamala Harris launching this new campaign ad highlighting her background as a prosecutor. The ad depicts the Democratic candidate as being tough on drug cartels and smuggling across the border, and that she's capable of, quote, fixing the border. NewsNation correspondent Jorge Ventura has been analyzing the claims made in this new ad, and he joins us now with what he found out. Jorge.
Well, Natasha, this new border ad for Kamala Harris focusing heavily on border security, an issue that continues to be a political vulnerability for both the Biden and Harris administration. Also, an issue that will be the back of voters' minds heading into November. We did fact check this new border ad. The ad does imply that Harris was on the front lines of the border crisis, when in reality, as a California Attorney General from 2011 to 2017, she mainly dealt with state-level criminal justice. For example, her Back on Track program aimed at reducing repeat offenses through education, not tackling border cartels. So this claim is stretching the truth a bit. NewsNation is fact-checking this claim as misleading. That also implies that Harris went after gang members for cross-border smuggling. While she did prosecute gang members in the state of California, these cases were mostly local, not involving international smuggling. For example, back in 2015, her office took on the Nuestra family gang for drug trafficking within California, not across the border. NewsNation is fact-checking this claim as false. Given she didn't prosecute criminals across the border, we're also going to take another listen to this part of the ad on border.
As vice president, she backed the toughest border control bill in decades. And as president, she will hire thousands more border agents and crack down on fentanyl and human trafficking. Fixing the border is tough.
The ad claims that Kamala Harris backed the toughest border control bill in decades, while Harris did support a bipartisan bill to increase funding for border security and immigration enforcement. It was rejected by mostly Senate Republicans. NewsNation Fact checks this as true, while the White House has backed this border bill as well. So overall, some of those facts in that new ad are misleading and are exaggerated. It is an issue that Democrats want to get on top of heading into November, Natasha.
Jorge Ventura live for us in San Antonio with that. Thank you. And for more, we're welcoming in Niall Stanage, White House columnist with our partner, thehill.com. Niall, thanks so much for being here.
Good to be with you, Natasha.
Niall, let's start with Jorge's report on the new Harris campaign ad. Of course, immigration and the border remain big issues heading into the election. We're increasingly seeing Republicans attacking Harris for her border record. Niall, as of now, is this Harris's biggest weak point, and could it impact the outcome, especially in some of these crucial swing states?
Yes and yes. I think it's clearly her biggest weakness. If you look at polling, admittedly pertaining to President Biden, immigration is his weakest point. It is his record there is disapproved of by roughly twice as many Americans as who approve of it. Obviously, Vice President Harris can be tied to that record. To the second part of your question, Arizona and Nevada in particular are two of about 6 or 7 swing states. Clearly, border security is especially salient in those battlegrounds.
Okay, and Niall, I wanted to make sure we left time for this because Jorge's spent time fact-checking the Harris ad. We wanted your insight fact-checking that Mar-a-Lago Trump press conference this week. There were a number of false or misleading statements in there, according to the Associated Press, from the number of illegal border crossings to statements on January 6th. And a lot of headlines about his statements about crowd size as well. Niall, what is standing out to you when you listen to Trump take questions this week?
Well, in a bizarre sense, the claims about his crowd on January the 6th for the speech at the Ellipse that preceded the riot at the Capitol. Firstly, if you're him, I don't know why you would want to shine a light on that particular day anyway. But secondly, he contended that his crowd there was larger than Dr. Martin Luther King's during the famous 1968 I Have a Dream speech. That's not true. It is clearly false if you look at photos of it. Now, there are a number of other claims that he made pertaining to policy, saying, for example, that there would have been no inflation had he been re-elected to a second term. There's no serious economist who would believe there would be no inflation, because much of the inflation pertained to us coming out of the pandemic. But we can go through other claims if you wish.
Yeah, Niall, why do you think Trump would say something like nobody was killed on January 6th when 5 people died, including a Trump supporter that day?
Well, that actually, I mean, I think January the 6th was an incredibly dark day, and I think that former President Trump, well, he clearly was impeached for inciting it. Now, on the question of deaths, I mean, there was a Trump supporter who died, Ashley Babbitt. I took Trump to mean that no one was killed by his supporters.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.